In today's episode, we're going to do things a little different, but I am going to share with you three things I do when being in the gap and thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. Welcome back to the Intuitive Mentor Mom podcast, where we explore strategies for practicing more self-love, gratitude, and finding new ways to empower ourselves in this ever-changing healing adventure of life happening for us. I'm your host, Tara Michelle. Let's get started. Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is Intuitive Mentor Mom. I am really glad to have you with us. I wanted to discuss being in the gap and the grass is always greener. How familiar are you with thinking the grass is always greener? Why today's show is going to be a little different is it is off script. It's off the cuff. I wanted to get on here raw and in my truth as I journey and move through a gap and also recognizing things I've seen about myself. And what's interesting, if you have had the chance to listen to any of the episodes previously, episode 1, which is actually the first episode I did on this podcast, is called Being in the Gap, being in the gap of life. And as a recap, to me, being in the gap of life is really about it's when you have A and B, A being the creation of something, like saying, I am creating a vacation, okay? And B being the date that you actually go on the vacation, okay? In between A and B, there's a gap. There's a gap called planning, saving maybe for money, or organizing. There's the gap of research. All the while, all of life is happening in between then. Another gap may be what I discussed in the gap of life in that episode 1 was I was laid off at that point. And so my gap was from the time of being laid off to the time of the new job. And that gap being this space of who am I going to be in that amount of time? Because if you listen to episode 1, I talked about you could either step into the doom and the gloom, right? And be in the context of, oh no, life is over. Oh no, I'm doomed. It's gloomy. Oh my God, it's heavy. Because there is that context with laying off or losing a job, right? Or you could be in the gap of, okay, actually that door closed because a whole new door is opening and it's an opportunity for me to create something really amazing. So there's different perspectives that we can always look at in the gap, right? A gap can also be, I'm using these examples, in between the time of, your search for that romantic relationship that you desire. That's one that I've been in for a while now. That's a gap that I've been exploring, and it's got its highs and lows. And some days it's amazing, and some days it's like, Jesus, this sucks, But all the while, the point of the gap, my understanding of the gap, what I've come to recognize and realize is that the gap is where all the juicy nuggets of life are. The gap is this moment in time where you are maybe uncertain, you are feeling unsettled, you may be excited, you may be scared. There's a number of ways of being in the gap, because there's this uncertainty of where life is going and what doors will open up next. But all the while, it is your job, maybe I'll say due diligence, to really take that time to experience all the ways of being that you move through and find the most empowering ways of being and cultivate and master those spaces. But without really experiencing that which you may be experiencing, could be fear or frustration or anger or sadness or whatever those feelings are while you're in the gap. That's the contrast. Let me see if I can typically I like to have notes, but I really felt I had to get on here and just speak rawly and openly and truthfully. So, without going too much deeper, I think you get the example of what I'm trying to say. And so, currently in my life, I'm in a gap. And the gap is in the area of what would you call it? I heard financial well being. And for those of you new to listening to the show, I'm an intuitive. I have a lot of gifts, and one of the gifts is I get a lot of channeled messages and thoughts, and I have a strong connection with God and my higher power. And so I hear a lot of messages, and I hear and I listen to my guidance. I listen to my inner intuition, and I listen to my guidance. And so you might hear me navigating these conversations while on this show today because I'm just getting on here and I'm just like, we're going to do this today. So, the gap that I've been navigating is financial well being. And something I noticed in the area of my career, I've noticed something that I do. I had to call one out on myself. And when I feel pressure around money or finances, and when I feel that I'm not going to achieve the goals I set out to achieve at work, or if I feel there's a challenge around them, how do I say it? Basically, how I say it is if I don't think I'm going to make the money that I set out to make, I absolutely go to a survival way of being. And that survival way of being kicks in and it starts to look for where the grass is greener. Okay. I've done that in the area of my career over the years. I've also done that in the area of real estate. I'm a very good real estate investor. I've learned a lot over the last, golly, how long have I been in this market? 25 years. That's amazing. I can't believe it's been that long. I've played in, and I can't say that I've dabbled, but I've played in the real estate game for the last 25 years and I've become very good at it. I've had some big losses and I've had some really big wins, but hindsight 2020, okay, that's where we're going to go because this is what had me recognize a pattern of survival. And the pattern of survival is called the grass is always greener. And I begin looking for the greener grass. I want people to check in and hear for themselves while listening to this. When have you looked at the grass is greener? And so there's this thought around grass being greener. When you see or think the grass is greener, it's because that grass is being watered. If you think your grass is not green, you have to step back and say, ask yourself, am I watering it? Am I fertilizing it? Am I producing or adding more seeds? Or am I just expecting it to grow without really fully putting the attention into it? And let's say you are putting attention into it. Like I put attention into my career. However, are there new ways of attention that I can provide that tree called career? Are there areas of opportunity that I'm maybe missing because I'm used to doing things a certain way, and then I have an expectation of what that result should be. And when that result doesn't show up the way I think it should go, I begin to look for where the grass is greener. I caught myself in that recently. And I saw it not only in the area of my career, I saw it in the area of dating. I saw it in the area of real estate. And I started seeing it in a lot of areas of my life. I started seeing that I'm looking for something better. Why? What's wrong with what I have? What is it that I'm afraid of right now? What is it that I'm fearing right now? When it came down to work, I was fearing that I wasn't going to produce the result. And I can't hold all the things that I have financially if I don't produce the result? And is it me not producing the result, or is it that the company isn't providing me the resources to produce the result? Who is at the helm of producing this result? Well, it's me, but we'll get to that in a second. It's me. But when I'm in that state of survival, I begin to look outside. I absolutely look outside of myself for either the problem or the solution. And I saw that. I saw it from the space of the observer. Have you ever experienced yourself as the observer? And the observer being that you know that there's this soul within. Well, you may not know. You may not think you have a soul. Some people think different things. I believe I have a soul. I actually saw it from the perspective of the soul watching me, I want to say in third person, as the observer, watching the machinery of my mind do what its basic protocol of survival is to do, because it's done it over and over and over and over throughout the span of my life. Now, this probably is led back to when my grandmother used to say, "You are a survivor. You're just like me, and we are survivors." That's a context that's interesting. Survival. And what she meant, and she always said, is you're a fighter, just like your grandma. And I am. I'm an absolute fighter. I'm a fighter in this world and in this life. And when I say I'm a fighter, it's like somebody who survives at all cost. So what does survival look like at all costs for you? I got to see it for myself. And I go to the grass is always greener. So let me go check out that pasture over there. As I began to recognize I was in that pattern, I saw how I would calculate and strategize around starting to look at, do I sell my house? Do I do these things? Do I downsize? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And the only thing that I had to go back on was what I've done in the past and what I knew to do. Okay. And as I saw that, I began to play out better versions of scenarios I've already done in the past, is when I saw the pattern. And then I saw the hindsight 2020, and I recognized, what if I had never sold that very first house that I bought? And I'll give you an example. The very first house I bought was in Los Angeles, California, in a little cute little area called Eagle Rock. And that was in 2000. And nobody wanted to live in Eagle Rock. Everybody thought, that's so far away. Oh my God, why are you moving all the way over there? Like Verdugo Road. Oh my God, that's forever away. It was $136,000 that house was. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the house my boyfriend and I at the time had bought prior to this house before we broke up. But when that was in that house was in Echo Park. Yes, we bought it for 136,000, if you can freaking believe that. We broke up. He sold it for 550,000 2 years later. But yeah, and those of you who are familiar with these neighborhoods I'm talking about, you're like, oh my God. So I bought my house for $163,000 in Los Angeles in 2000. It's my very first little home, very cute. And I began to start being nostalgic. I feel as if in the last 90 days, I've gone through a kind of a dark night of the soul of being very nostalgic about these things I had deep in my past and things that I walked away from. I saw it in the area of romance. I saw it in the area of my real estate and houses. And I saw it in the area of career. Now, in my career, it's a little different because in the 3 companies that I loved deeply the most, I was laid off. And I was laid off, and so I had no control over those situations. And they were actually, they were all big department layoffs. It wasn't like I personally was laid off. It was these big department downsizing layoffs. And so that was just an unfortunate situation. But as you can imagine, I threw myself into survival mode in most of those situations. So As I was looking back at these moments of nostalgic memories and thinking, well, why did I sell that first house? Oh, I was going through a big breakup. I had all these breakdowns going on in my life, and I went into survival mode and I ran away. And I sold a perfectly good property. Now I doubled my money, I almost tripled my money when I sold it. I'd only been there 2 years. But then I ran away back to Oakland, California, back home, only to move right back to LA a year later. And I bought a house in Oakland, did really well, sold it, made money to buy back into LA. At which point I had to buy a house at $460,000. Okay. Now imagine had I stayed at the little cute little house that I had for $163,000. And I look back at that, and now that house has now been renovated. It's worth $1 million, I'm sure now today. I drove by it a couple years ago and I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, look what they did to it. They did some beautiful things to it. But I started looking at moments like that in my lifetime. And people might say, oh, but you're doing the shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yes, I was. I was deep in the shoulda, coulda, woulda. I was deep in the shoulda, coulda, woulda. I was feeling deep of like, oh my God, I fucked up and I shouldn't have done that. Like I was in it and feeling it until all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, whoa. And I began to go to the place of the grass is always greener. I should start looking for this now. I should start doing this. Well, maybe I should do this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that. In that moment, I woke up to something that I know very well, and that is stay focused, stay the course, and never give up. Ride the horse all the way through, complete the race. Whatever saying you want to say, like whatever it is, stay the course, keep going, don't get off, ride it till the end. Stay committed. I look back at moments when I jumped ship and I have probable outcomes of what was possible had I not jumped ship. Had I not jumped ship, had I just stayed the course, I would have learned all the same lessons. Maybe I would have learned some of those lessons sooner. Maybe I would have more fruits of those labors sooner. Who knows, right? But I can guarantee in this moment, what I saw for myself is that going to the grass is greener right now would not get me where I want to sooner. It might give me the larger paycheck. It might give me that temporary relief. But does it accomplish my end goal and my end result? No, it actually pushes it further out. Why? Because I would have to start all over. I would have to start all over at a company. I would have to build all new momentum. I'd have to do all these things. If I chose to downsize and sell this house, I would regret it. I guarantee you I would regret it. Because when I found this place that we live in, it checked all the boxes. And it was so easy. There was so much flow when I moved into it. And it just happens to be that I'm in a gap. I went through a big layoff last year, and I'm in a gap. And what I saw for myself is there are 3 things to do for myself. And maybe this will make a difference for you too when being in this space. And I'm going to go over those in a second. But I also want to just say, it was really a big aha for me to see myself in action in the state of survival and not see it from this place of knowing that I'm in survival mode. That's a different thing when you know you're in survival mode. It's a different thing when you see it from the observer, when the observer is literally watching the machinery, the body, and the being in action. I don't know how else to explain it as I'm the observer. It's like being in your body in the third person. It's almost like an outer body experience. And you're like, "Oh shit." When you think about like we're an avatar, okay? Like I was having an avatar moment, okay? That's what it was like. It was like, "Holy fuck, look at my avatar. Just going to town. Let me take control of that, please." And that's the first thing I'm going to tell you of the three things that I do and that you can do when you're in that moment of the grass is always greener. Because I promise you, it may look green, but that's because somebody is over there watering it. And then that, I should bring that back because we have to water where we're at. I have an amazing friend, Kindy Malat, who you can go back to, I believe it's episode 16, maybe 15, a couple different episodes back there. Her and I talked and spoke on the podcast. We were talking about health and fitness because she was my trainer for a while. And she's amazing. She's a nurse. She's a certified trainer. She's fantastic. And I encourage you to look her up if you are in need of a great trainer. She's amazing. One of the things she always says, and I was reminded by one of my best friends that she says this, and I was like, oh shit, oh yeah, control the controllables. Now, before you control the controllables, so actually I said this in the wrong order. Again, I told you I'm like off the cuff tonight or today. Um, the first thing you have to do is surrender. You first have to surrender. You have to surrender to the survival. And you have to stop and recognize that you're in the mode of survival. You're not thriving, you're surviving. You're operating from the amygdala, you're operating from instinct, you're operating from fight or flight. You're operating from cortisol spikes. You're operating from, you know, there is no rooted thought. It's not coming from your core, your root, I shouldn't even say your root. It's not coming from your heart. It actually is coming from the root chakra because it's coming from the survival mode, but you're not coming from your heart, which I see the heart as the root of the brain botanical garden. Remember, I've said that our mind is this beautiful garden and the root of that is the heart. But you're not in that space when you're in survival mode. Not at all. So the first step is surrender. What surrender looks like for me is I literally lay down on my floor and I just allow the earth or the ground to absorb me. And sometimes I'll just start crying because it's like I'm just giving up and saying, okay, God, I hand this over to you because this is God's will, not mine. And when I'm over there driving the ship, try to drive it into the ground, it's going to go my way. It's going to go this way. It's going to happen now. When I do that, shit, I just get on these bumpy roads and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like riding my little clunker down the road, bopping and bumping and like crashing into rocks and shit. Okay. So if that gives you an example, but that's what it's like when I'm steering from the state of survival. So surrender. Then you look at controlling those controllables. Thank you, Kindy, for always like reminding me. Control those controllables. What does that look like? For me, I hate it. It's a fucking budget. God, I hate budgeting. How many out there hate budgeting? Please raise your hand. You can raise your hand down in the comments. I hate budgeting. Or put budgeting, and then I'll know that you're with me there. Budgeting, that's a controllable. I can control that. And when I don't control that, I don't manage that, things get out of whack. Same with my health and fitness. Control the controllables. If I don't manage my food and log my food, then I might see a different outcome. And then I'm going to be like, what's the matter? Well, because I'm not controlling the controllables. That's number 2. Control your controllables. Surrender is number 1. And number three, look for the evidence of flow. So I had a bunch of beautiful evidence of flow this week. And honestly, I had one of the most productive weeks I've had in a very long time. And I'm navigating big situations in my life, both from the area of career, from the area of finances, from the area of parenting. I have big things on my plate right now. None that are like, it's nothing bad. It's just life. Like life is lifing. Life is looking like it's life when it's happening. But it's that space of looking for the evidence of where you're in flow. And what I recognized this week, not only did I have some really incredible wins around calls and productivity and things that were happening, but I also saw nature at its wildest and best this week. I had a hummingbird come to my window. I had a roadrunner in the backyard. I had the owls and the hawks flying back and forth on my property. I had the sun shining on my skin. I had beetles mating, cicadas visiting. There was all this robust nature happening all around me and allowing me to witness it in so many beautiful ways. In ways where I look down and this plant is like blooming and bursting with its fluffy white seeds coming off and blowing in the wind. I mean, absolute beauty, magnificence, and you can miss it. I saw this beautiful cardinal taking a bath in my bird feeder right outside my window at work. Well, not at work, in my office as I was working. I clicked on my phone and started recording her because she was in there just cleaning and the water spraying off. And as I'm recording her, the male comes up and feeds her while she's taking a bath and gives her a little bug, puts it in her mouth, and flies away. And I'm thinking, that is amazing. That's amazing. Like that's nature. That's God loving me in this moment. That's beauty happening all around me. And it really had me feel and experience being in flow because what I chose was to surrender to the process and to surrender to all that I have, surrender to this amazing job that I have that I actually truly enjoy, surrender to this beautiful house that I love and cherish. And God shows me every day, like, I would be so sad if I had downsized to get out of this house for a temporary feeling of safety. Safety is within. Okay. Can I just say that? There is nothing outside of you that is going to have you feel safe. Safety is within. Safety is an inside job. And then it's strengthening yourself to trusting, knowing, and believing that you are safe and all is well. All is well and you are safe at all times. You really are. Now, are there circumstances in the world that may have us experience not being safe? Absolutely. And will things happen? Absolutely, that can happen. But at the end of the day, God has you. You are safe and all is well. It really is that. And trusting and knowing and believing in that. So, as I said, the three things that you can do when you are in that state of survival, thinking the grass is always greener, being in the gap of your life or gaps of life, you can just take a moment, you can pause, and you want to surrender, let go, let God. Put the armor down, put the wheel down, take your hands off of it. It's going to be okay. And then control the controllables. And from there, look for the evidence of life loving you. Look for the evidence of flow. Look for the evidence of all the goodness that's around you. Look for the evidence that you're healthy and well. Look for the evidence of your children's smiles and laughter and the joy in their life. Look for the evidence of all the magical and amazing things that you have accomplished. Look for the evidence. It's right in front of you. And we don't give ourselves enough credit. I don't give myself enough credit. I often just go into survival mode. I hit it on full throttle and I fucking take off. And I'm like, I'm going. I'm going to take care of shit right now. Sometimes you just got to let go and trust and know that in that flow, you're actually going to create more momentum and more good things are going to come faster. That's what we're so afraid of. We are so afraid of the outcome never occurring. We're so afraid of the outcome being out of reach. We're so afraid that the outcome is way out there, when in fact, if we just let go and allow the boat to go downstream, you will reach the end, or the gold, or the pot of gold, whatever it is. It's coming. It's going to be there in a moment, faster than you know. But we really get caught up. I should say I get caught up in that cycle of survival and thinking that that outcome that I'm wanting right now isn't happening. It's not happening. Okay, what do I have to do to make it happen? How am I going to keep all these plates spinning? How am I going to keep everything, how am I going to keep it all going? When really it's all going. It's all going already. It's all going. But, where that comes from is, everybody has like when we're talking about financial peace, everybody has a number in mind where they feel safe in their bank account, right? When there's a certain number in your bank account, like if it doesn't go down past that number, you're good. You're floating. But when it goes past a particular number, some people that number can be 500,000. Some people that number could be 10 million. Some people that could have that number of 1,000. Some people could have the number of 500. You may be good. Like when your checking account's at 500, you're like, I'm good. Some of us are like, oh, hell, if it goes past a certain number, oh, shit is not good. I am not good. No, 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 no. Say you don't have your emergency fund, or say your 401k isn't where you want it to be, or all the things. I mean, that's what it is for me. Like my emergency fund isn't where I want it to be. My 401k isn't where I want it to be. My savings isn't where I want it to be. And those things cause a literal state of panic in my gut. And then, which then sends my brain to survival mode. Because in those moments, I'm not controlling the controllables. I'm caught up in the idea and the thoughts, the illusion of things not working the way I want them to. It's an illusion. Okay. I want to leave everybody with that. I know today, this episode wasn't like, I didn't follow notes. I didn't do all those things. I just got on here to speak. And it's really been coming up a lot for me around this area of the grass is always greener and I'm in a state of survival. And for the first time in my life, I think I've decided that I'm going to continue watering these trees right here. I'm going to water this grass right here because it's beautiful. And I'm missing the beauty of it by thinking there's something else out there. There isn't. And maybe there is. Maybe there is something better. But what's wrong with what I have? What is it that I could do different to create and plant new seeds? And all I know with like the area of my career, it's a simple thing. It takes time to rebuild a territory. And that's what the sales rep and I are doing. We're rebuilding a territory. It takes time to do that. And when it takes time to do that, there's a gap. And that's the gap we're in. We're both in. Our entire company is in. Our entire team is in it. And rather than stay the course and be on the team, being the team player, crushing it, my mind is over there like, hey, go check this other thing out. No, be there. Be there with the team. Be on the team. Fucking play like your fucking life like your life depends on it. Play your heart out. Smack the ball so far out of the field, just crack it with the bat over and over and over. And sometimes you're not going to make it out of the field. So then you just fucking get back up there and you have the pitcher, pitch that ball and you crack it. And just like I used to, in one of the episodes, I was talking about basketball being like, a great metaphor for the court of life. Cause I also see it like a basketball game. And you play your ass off. You play your ass off and you just keep shooting balls and you keep shooting because eventually you're going to shoot and it's going to make it and it's going to make it and it's going to make it. And that's where I'm at. And I believe that there's something really beautiful on the other side of this. I believe that there's something really like everything I truly desire and want is going to happen. And I have to trust that. I know that. It always does. God delivers. Sometimes I don't wait around for God's time. I'm like, fuck that. It's my time. Excuse my language. I think it's just the state I'm in. I'm like, whew, it's been a big week. It's been a long week. It's been a bit of a stressful week. And this is where I'm at. So I want to say thank you to all that have listened this long to my rant about the grass is always greener. I hope that some of the things I've shared have either shifted a perspective for you or shaken some things loose for you. I also invite you to leave a comment below. If you have questions, leave a comment. You have comments or suggestions, leave a comment. If any of this resonated for you or you feel somebody could use like a little bit of this support, please share my episode or my show. It really helps it grow. And I want to say thank you to all of you who continue to support me, to follow me. I'm so beyond grateful. I also want to let you know in the month of July, I am going to be launching a heart healing workshop. Dates to be determined. It is a single date. It will be a 90-minute workshop. We're going to move and shift and remove blocks that are in your heart. So back to what I was talking about with your mind being the garden and the root and the seed being the heart and this illusion that we call life, right? And you want your illusion of life to look differently, you have to tend to the garden in your mind. And that garden, its seed is the heart. So we are going to do some heart healing. We're going to do some heart cleaning. We're going to remove blocks, energy blocks. We're going to remove trauma. We're going to remove and shake things out. And we're going to reconnect you, realign you to what the design of your mind is in terms of what you desire. Okay. So that is what we will be creating. I encourage you to keep an eye out. I will start posting the links down below with a date and time. Won't be in the show notes this week, but it will start in the following show notes. I will let you know. And it'll also be on my website, taramichelle.com. And that's MY. It's Tara, MYCHELLE.com. So yeah, I'm excited to be working with any of those who want to experience some really fun and cool energy work. I will be working with a group of you on a group call, one-on-one individually within the group call. It will be a live call. We will work together. We will talk or I shouldn't say one-on-one, but we'll talk amongst the group. I'll be able to provide some coaching, but then also we will be doing some rewiring and realigning on all of our hearts. So that is coming up in July. In the meantime, thank you to all of you stuck around listening to this show today. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your weekend. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode and see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for coming on this healing adventure today. If you're starting to see how everything is falling into place for you, consider rating the show and sharing it with one of your friends. Keep that spirit alive and join me next week, same place, same time. Have a great week.